What's going on? Maddie with Fusaro Fitness, back to part 2 of the series from All About Macros. I'm going to link part 1, which is just the foundation of learning about what macronutrients are and how they are comprised. Again, just a basic foundation for beginners out there who are unsure of what macronutrients are, and that was to lead into this video where I'm going to talk about macronutrient guidelines for cutting. Keep in mind, there are different factors that are going to play into this, so this is not going to be 100%, and I will explain that as the video goes on, but this is a pretty good guideline, so let's get started by talking about this. All About Macros Part 2, Determining Your Macronutrients for Cutting. So, what do we need to get started? First thing we need to do is find out our maintenance calorie level, and what we do from there is subtract from that number to create a deficit because we're cutting. We want to eat below maintenance. So now we have to determine the size of the deficit that we want. Our main goal here is to lose fat while preserving as much lean tissue and strength as possible. So how do we find our maintenance calories? Well, keep in mind one thing here. Online calculators and formulas and whatnot are just an estimation. They are not 100%. So trying to be 100% precise is going to require time, effort, and money if you really want to get tested by a coach or someone like that. So keep it simple, stupid. Threw in a little KISS acronym for you. Anyway, let's assume that you're doing about an hour of exercise per day, normal activity. We're going to take a general number, 14 to 16 calories per pound is a good starting number. For women, or maybe some people with a slower metabolism, will go more towards 14. For males, faster metabolism, around 16 calories per pound. Using myself as an example, around 190 pounds, we'll multiply that by 16, giving us 3,040 calories. Let's keep it simple with a round number. We'll start with 3,000 calories will be my maintenance to maintain the weight that I am right now, 190 pounds. Let's have a look at some of the online calculators. The links will be in the description below to these websites. All you have to do is enter your age, your gender, your weight, your height, and your exercise level, which I recommend not going too high. I would keep the exercise level at around moderate 3 to 5 times a week. And as you can see, when you calculate it, your maintenance calories are going to be pretty close to what I had said when we just did a simple calculation, right around 3,000. So now that we have our maintenance of 3,000 calories, where do we go from there? So we take that 3,000 calorie number, and what we have to do with that number is create a calorie deficit. We want to eat below 3,000 calories so we can lose weight or cut. The deficit is up to you. I highly suggest making the deficit extremely small, starting at 100 calories and increasing as needed. Some people like to use 500, which will mean you will lose a pound a week. I tend to think that that is too quick of a rate of fat loss. The lower your body weight is and the leaner you are, the lower you want your deficit to be. Eating in too big of a deficit is going to lower your metabolism. You might have muscle loss. You may feel lethargic. You just won't have the energy you want. But for simplicity, we're going to go with 500 just to keep numbers round. Again, I recommend starting small. So a 500 calorie deficit is going to put us at 2,500 calories. Now let's talk about how we figure out what the macronutrients need to be to make up that number. So we have a 2,500 calorie diet. You're going to use your first essential macronutrient, protein. Eat 1 gram per pound of body weight. Again, this is just a general guideline. It doesn't have to be exact. Next, we have an essential macronutrient, fat. We're going to go for about 0.25 times your body weight, or a quarter of your body weight in grams of fat. And then you have your carbohydrates, which are going to be whatever is left over after you have figured out your protein and your fat requirements. So let's give a little example of that number. Don't forget, 1 gram of protein is 4 calories, 1 gram of carbs is 4 calories, and 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. So we have a 2,500 calorie diet again. So using the stats of myself, we're going with a 190 pound male. So that means with a deficit goal of 2,500 calories, this is how we're going to break it down. 1 gram per pound of body weight. which would equate to 190 grams of protein per day. Our fat, 0.25 or a quarter of our body weight, which is going to come out to 47.5 grams of fat per day. And the carbs will be whatever is left over after we have done the calculations to find out the amount of calories. So at 190 grams of protein times 4 calories per gram, we're going to get 760 calories. At 47.5 grams of fat per day times 9 calories per gram, we're going to get 427 calories. Adding those numbers together, we get 1,187 calories. We have to get to 2,500, so where other calories come from? Our carbohydrates. So what's left over after we subtract our protein and fats is 1,313 calories, which is going to come from carbohydrates. So we're going to take that number and divide it by 4 because 1 gram of carbs is 4 calories, and we get 328 grams of carbohydrates. Now when you add those numbers, it comes out to 2,500 calories, which is your caloric deficit. Keeping it simple, we're going to work with round numbers here. So, we have, again, 2,500 calories is our goal. We have a round number already of 190 grams of protein, so we can keep that the same. Our fats were around 47.5, we could just round it up to 50 grams per day. And our carbohydrates were at 328.25, we can make it an even 330. Again, you can mess with these numbers, they don't have to be exact. Some questions you get about this topic: can you gain muscle and lose fat at the same time? Well, the simple answer to that is going to be no, not really, and this isn't 100% specific. But when you're in a calorie deficit, you will either lose fat and maintain the muscle you have, or you may lose some muscle mass. Next question, should I do a lot of cardio to burn more fat? Again, simple answer, no. What cardio is going to do is place you in a further deficit. You're already eating in a calorie deficit, so you're losing weight. The more cardio you add on that, the bigger the deficit you're creating. So you don't want to lose too quickly. Should you do lighter weight with higher reps when cutting? Absolutely not. Training should actually remain the same whether you are cutting, bulking, maintaining. There is no reason to change your intensity in the gym. You may have to lower the volume a little bit, maybe lower the frequency. You can mess around with that. Question, I'm not losing any weight. What am I doing wrong? You're simply not in a deficit, and this could be caused by you not tracking your macros accurately. So, with all that said, we're going to conclude with a couple of notes on this. You want to create a deficit according to your goals and your body composition, not what other people are doing. You want to, again, preserve lean body tissue, muscle mass, and strength, even though you're cutting. Do not be scared to take in fat, even though you're cutting. Do not be scared to take in carbs, even though you're cutting. And be consistent with your workouts and with your diet. Be patient. It's not going to happen overnight, I promise you that. And if you are correctly tracking your macros and you are for sure eating in a calorie deficit, you will lose weight. There's no way around that. So don't start restricting yourself and running for miles and miles and hours on the treadmill or doing cardio endlessly. There's no secret. There's no quick fix. It's hard work. It's diet. It's training. It's everything combined with consistency. So that's all about macros and determining macros for cutting. Hope that helps out a little bit. Again, stay tuned for part 3 where we talk about determining macronutrients for bulking. So I hope this helped you out a little bit. Again, give me a like rating if you enjoyed it and it did help. Message me with any questions or comments you may have, and thank you very much for the support. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video. That's Matty Fusaro signing out.